Human soul emerged, found itself immersed in body shape and capability, found itself the favour of a heartbeat, a stream of air, supply of food and warmth. Or perhaps it didn't, and like the smallest blossom it blew away. Human soul emerged, found itself amongst a nest of souls, a supporting wind of friendship and elaboration, exercises there to keep it neat and clean, and plain acceptance. Or not, and like a flower left in shadow, failed to open. Human soul emerged, found itself within a chain of incrimination, of assumption and discretion, found itself coloured by another's eyes, and truncated, wings lopped, body chopped like a cropped field, with taller poppies left to lord it over. Human soul emerged, found itself in good soil, under clear sky with a clear water running by, thought, I am worthy of paradise. Hello. That one was called Only Those Who Made It Will Be Judged. That's something about what we encounter when we come into this world, the reactions to us, the expectations thrust upon us, these inexplicable things that we find ourselves subject to. It takes some time to whittle out those pressures that are pressing on us, defining us. That might appear, that thought, in some of these poems that come up that I've chosen to read today. Or maybe not. Just that immense circumstance that we are and that we identify with so strongly, even though who we are is not defined by circumstance. I called this set immense. I'm not sure even if that's an appropriate thing. We'll see. Certain thought of those forces, those circumstances that are so big, so immense. It's hard to separate ourselves from them. Now they talk about you cannot define a universe that you're in. And that's probably true. But certain circumstances we assume we are caught within, and actually, no, there are doorways to step out of it. This next poem is called Only. And it's of something, of a time when I was caught in something so immense. In this case, it was grief, but it could have been many other things. And there was only one way out, it seemed. Only. The only move I can make is to perch. The only breath I can take is a spoonful. The only pulse I can manage is thorn. The only speech I can utter is wall. The only tears I can shed are in growing hairs. The sound I can hear is a slice of a knife. The company I bear is clamped to the corners and looking away. I'm looking away. The only life I can lead, she gave me. The only touch I can ask for is silent, is yours, and is silent. A moment, a time when it was just too much and we couldn't even move. I think we all get moments like that. I think we're all in many moments like that. This pandemic is such a moment like that, of different sizes. That one references my mother. The only life I could lead is the one she gave me. This is also touching on my mother to a degree. I called this first, the title of this one was first of all, was called The First Thing I Felt Is Still, and I left it uncompleted because I had the thought. But reading it again, of course it reads as The First Thing I Felt Is Still, as if stillness was the first thing I felt, and maybe it was, but what I intended was this. The first thing I felt is still the only thing I feel. Living around my heart like it's my mother. Oh, the terror when I hear it cry, the dread that it will leave. How I stand, a fierce child, chin and fists at their extremity against bullying fear. Leave her alone, I roar. She's always been the most powerful thing I know. How I strive to protect her from one who thinks her owned. Obliged. Why's my food cold, love? Living around this feeling, fear. She can't protect me. Little child fists will try. Our parents, I know, we take them in as part of our psyches, as part of our brain, as part of our thought and how we relate to the world. It's like everything that I need to feel safe, I place with you. Everything I need that is threatening me, I place with you. And then they go and you're finding that you're needing to replace the protection that they offered way back. A long, long time ago, I often haven't felt safe, and I've often been too open with the world. I was imagining myself surrounded by knights of Camelot. As I was a big Arthurian fan, I had these imaginary knights to front, to back and to side and to me as a kind of psychic protection. Didn't always work. At one point, working in a bookshop, a strange man walking back and forth in front of the shop searching finally came in, saw me and said, it's you. And he identified me as being wide open to everything that's out there. And he encouraged me to chant Om Mani Padme Om as a time of grounding and closing myself off. But in both those cases, the thought of erecting defences of kinds around me felt like a very real thing. This is something I wrote very recently, which builds on that, called Protective Spaces. Mother, now that you've gone, I have a space upon my right shoulder I need you to hold, or your mother, or her mother, or even Sarah, like a wing, ready to flare or to gather, to furl when the day is done. Father, now that you've gone, I have a space to my left side I need you to hold, or your father, or his father, or even Robert, ready to shield with a cry, "This is my child." And my daughter, now that you've come, I have place in my right side, gentle touch. I need you to hold, or your daughter, your son, to tell if I'm being too fearsome, to sigh when I'm tender, fiercely eyed. And my son, I have a space in my belly I need you to hold, or your son, or their daughter, reading the ripples in water, offering in your hand. I shall hold my knees, more careful steps now, all of us only going so far. Protecting, holding, finding ourselves held in circumstances of our own choosing, defining where we are for ourselves perhaps. Silence has ever been my mother. For her breast, my first sound. Towards her arms, my first word. Silence has clothed my speech, has taught my earliest dances, has taken me back to sleep. When I fall, she holds my cry. When I laugh, she carries my joy. And when I am in need of her, she is always by, as real to me as flesh, solid as bone, as perennial as blood, kept, released, allowed to beat and flow. These words, I lie in silence on a page, a gift to her. You may speak them if you wish, the sound born again on her quiet offer of bliss. Perhaps it's the origin of imaginary friends, something along the way. So much that we project of ourselves out onto other people for them to carry. And in many ways it's beneficial, and in many ways it's harmful. It's good to know which is which. I've been reading, when I can, poems by my friends, printed, published poems by them, in lieu of having a special guest. And I want to read 3 poems today by my friend Ruth Stacey. She's got a few books out, I think, but the one I want to read from is this gorgeous, slim little pamphlet called Fox Boy. So delicate, so fine. I could almost read the whole of it to you. It's very, very short also, just 13 short pieces in it. But I would like to read 3 of them, and I very much hope she doesn't mind. Fox Boy, it speaks a little about the relationship between this child who doesn't quite know where he belongs and his relationship with the fox that he is so similar to. I won't say too much. So this is number 3 in 13. 3 fox furs, lined and warmed the nook, scratched into the earth where the infant first slept. Now he walks and chatters. A hollow tree is smoothed, split, balanced on 6 stones, filled with all they have, soft, cradling his sleeping limbs. Still his fingers tremble, seek the comfort of the brushes. The hospital lights are rushing bright. Smile cannot be unpicked from her lips. The nurses coo to each other and peep around the door. Come and look. Is this the baby with all the hair? Oh, isn't he beautiful? Look at all his hair. Where is he from? Here. He's from here. In the street, she carries him in a striped sling, close to her heart. She cannot be apart from his wily beats. People jostle to look at his face, invade the space between mother and child. She is kind, though, and she doesn't mind them stroking him, except when they say, "What is he?" A baby. The small boy hunkered down, grabbed the fox by the leg, and dragged him from his earth, blinking and growling. Fox shook his head, licked his fur back into place. So? Boy sat in the dust and bit his fingernails to the quick. I want to know. Fox stops chewing on an old rabbit skull and looks at him. Do you look like a fox? Yes. The child pulls a strand of his copper hair and holds it to the light. Then you are a fox. But I look like a man too. Then you are a man. This is confusing, the boy sighs. No, it's simple. Those are just 3 pieces from Fox Boy by Ruth Stacey, which is published by Dancing Girl Press and Studio. This illustration are inside. And I'll share details of that in the comments afterwards. I would love to read the whole of it to you. It's such a wonderful sequence. How are you doing? Thanks for joining me. Like I said, I can't tell from this how many people are watching or who you are, even unless maybe you send a little message to say, hello, I'm here. Like Sus does every time. Thank you. I know she's there. I thought of being held by someone outside of yourself, someone imagined maybe, or someone who's just not seen. Nobody would know you were being held. I do that often. This one's called Catch. Odin, come, without your spear, and hold me, hooded man. I need those rope-torn hands around my arms, feel their shaking. I need that scream-sore tongue spreading breath and whispers on my face. I need that eye, that remnant of eye, catching every time the veil was torn. Let your wolves savage this wound, kill the fester, poison in the blood. Let your steed, iron-hooved, crush the shackles, toss the rider. Let your ravens watch, taking note. This must be seen, this must be understood. Odin, come. Drop your gold, long walker. Witness what you never saw in Hell's home. And when it's gone, when it's done, with me not dead, lead me back. It recalls to me a little bit those moments of collapse, of breakdown, when I've been fortunate in thinking, it's okay, I'm holding, something's holding me. I am not disappearing, although I'm disappearing. It recalls that sort of moment for me. That mentioned Odin, a god who inspires much of my poetry, and whose presence I sometimes crave and desire. Tales of Odin include him searching the world for knowledge, going up against the giants, the Etins, the Jotun, questing for knowledge, questioning them for knowledge. The Etin, the Jotun are huge, are important in Norse mythology. In many ways, they're harmful to mankind, being those huge, implacable forces which we have no effect over. And the two main defenders against them are Thor with his hammer, smashing them, breaking them down, or Odin with his questioning and his riddling, much like a scientist or a philosopher might gnaw at a problem, or just bit, by small pieces, eroding away at something that seems impossible to solve until finally it falls and collapses. So in the poems, he's often riddling with giants, and as they reveal things to him, finally they turn and ask him a question, and he gives them something impossible to answer, and suddenly they know this is Odin come, and then they are doomed. They know they're doomed. And something of Odin, perhaps in this regard, in this poem, is that he is one who sacrificed himself to himself. So perhaps it's that sense of self-knowledge, of being where you are, that might be the answer to these immense, overwhelming forces that we live with. Question. There is one sat hooded before the cliff face of a giant's brow, spear lain across their knee. Nor the top may be seen, nor the width of his expanse. It might be forever. It ends only here, where one sits hooded, scratching sounds onto wood. They hear the earth's laughters in the rumble of their gut. They hear the giants' welcoming disdain. If they opened their eye, this giant, it would be 1,000,000 embers burning in a sky. If they opened their mouth, this giant, it would be bones of the millions lying dead between their teeth. If they opened their mind, this giant, it would be secrets, kept even from themselves, too deep to find. The hooded one sits still, quiet as an atom, just a bird or two to pick the bones clean. What is the single word spoken? This is the single word answer. Who is the giant's final death cry? I have one. 3. There was one here that I've pulled out at the last moment. I wanted to try. It might be a bit of a jump, what we're talking to, but no, maybe not. There's a sense, again, of being held by someone outside of yourself, or visited. I was asleep and then not, and it feels like I crossed a line. There are burn marks on my wrists, knots in my hair, and the smell of wine. The night is still, numinous. If this is a dream, it is not mine. A voice is heard in whispers, carries shocking words in a tone divine. My skin shudders, bone is mute, breath hides, air and blood combine to bring a fire to the dark and a hint of her design. Not what, only that it's there, and she was here, goddess of the vine, goddess of song and music, reverberations thick around her shrine, and I stagger, heart, tongue, hand for her. I dip a pen into the stream to make my words shine. Knowing you sleeping, dead weight you, knowing the insistence that keeps you alive, knowing you as remains, seeing you roused, putting yourself on, thunderclouds gone in the night storm, seeing you innocent, seeing you heady, too much up top, unaware over joy, over touch of Mother Earth, seeing you high, offering a hand to a helium balloon, seeing you unopen your clothes. Stay close. I will hold you soon. Knowing you so, I will hold you soon. That was called Held. Have no fear, said life. I'll be with you to the end. Take my hand, said truth. I will help you mend. Have what you will of me, said choice. I will always be your friend. Carry on, said freedom. I will meet you at the bend. Never mind, said loneliness. I will see you clear. I will be with you, said solitude, to keep you near. Take a step, said trepidation. I will disappear. Never mind me, said death. you'll not know I'm here. Said. Just two more to offer you. Thank you so much for listening. Clothing's come up a few times in this set, occasional mentions of being clothed, the circumstance that we find ourselves in. And here it's placed to the to times past and times to come, almost fully dressed. As tomorrow puts their clothes on, I look at all those yesterdays, some dressed so fine, but some, like today, feeling tight in outworn threads. And too late for them to change. Dinner's called and many of them went ahead. The wardrobe's not as full as it once was. There may not be much dancing left, but still, there might be sequins there, and jaunty hats to wear. And this is my last for today. I'll be reading more day after tomorrow. And the video on this will be on the timeline shortly, along with the set list, if you want to watch back. So this is the last, and it's called See. See first the human being, stripped of skin, stripped of gender, stripped of race or creed or speech, stripped of age, of shape, of can or cannot do, stripped of chains, stripped of hurt, free of gravity, perhaps, stripped of stripes, stripped of gold, stripped of cloth, stripped of beauty. No, you cannot strip us of beauty. See us first as life. See the years. Might we be wise? Might we need your care? See the vision in our eyes. See the light before the shadows. See the drop, the flight. See us each stood alone in summer meadows. See the heartwood, see the bone. Then see how we have dressed ourselves in I am, in I need, into each our gender, tribe or creed, into this I cannot do, though I would, into this I will not do, though I could, into I did or might or should have never said. Let us dress, let us set our dress just so, then lift our head. And do not be afraid to look or to be seen, stripped, known, conscious you are far from naked, conscious you are also clothed.